Okay, first house, body. All right, so a lot of you guys may be dealing with appearances, people, and how you meet them in first impressions. It could have to do a lot with your body itself and how it's being presented. Maybe you guys are getting sick too. Maybe you guys are breaking out, or maybe you guys are recognizing and noticing clear skin. Maybe less health issues and becoming more stronger. Maybe even losing weight. But the first house usually indicates the appearance. You know, the mask that we wear, what people see, the first hit of what someone is, right? Who someone is, right? Who are they introducing, or who? What part of them are introducing themselves to you, as well as what part of you are you introducing to other people? So first impressions, as I was, is like the first. It's the card I see for the first house, just because it's just such a card that represents the mask. You know, the first impression, like I said, and it does indicate appearances. So how the body is. So let's see why this card is coming up with your reading here. Okay, y'all. King of Pentacles. All right. Okay. Oh Jesus. I don't typically read reversal, so that was very interesting that the Page of Swords was the one that came up reversed. Because I make sure I shuffle in a way that doesn't actually make anything reversed. So, very interesting. Alright, so already looking at this reading, I can kind of get this vibe that we are, Libra, we are moving in a different direction, taking totally new strides. And honestly, it's one where we have no idea where we're going, but we know exactly what we have already gone through and what we're learning from, considering that we've just kind of left that behind. We're leaving whatever it is behind. Their back is toward us, so they're going on a different journey. But I think, the Six of Pentacles. So they're leaving behind areas or something that wasn't fair, something that wasn't balanced, or perhaps it was, or things needed to be worked on a little bit more. And you're maybe you're taking a new approach to it. Maybe you're going in a totally different direction. And I kind of get this vibe that you guys are learning how to get what you want from and other means, but it comes from a different mindset, right? A different mentality. Now, the heart of the reading is the King of Pentacles. This could be someone that you're in a relationship with, someone that you have a commitment to. This could be yourself, Libra. It could be that you're dealing with a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. But I kind of get the vibe too that the King of Pentacles would represent being of value, mastering the finances, mastering a sense of stability. Um, but then you have the Two of Pentacles. So it's almost like you guys are making also a decision perhaps on who your long-term partner is. How that long-term partner has kind of developed over time. And is this someone that you would want to spend most of your time with going forward? Now, the reason why I say that is because the Two of Wands is showing that there's a decision that needs to be made, and it hasn't really been made yet, right? Of course, what I think is to do with what you want, and if this person is what you want, or is it someone in your life that represents who you desire, but they don't give you anything emotional. So, which is why the wands are coming up specifically, because there's so many different ways that make to ask or to suggest there's a decision made through the tarot. There is a reason why they picked the wands here. What passion do you have for this King of Pentacles? I'm not saying that this person is not sexual, they don't provide something emotional, because this King of Pentacles could typically provide most things. But the King of Pentacles is never looked to as for emotional support. They are a rock, someone that's stable, someone that can definitely hold down the fort. But when it comes to emotional stability and well-being, that's a little bit different. This is not the king that usually specializes in that, especially with the King of Swords. They don't specialize in that, but they do specialize in communication and communication and exchanging of facts and being very clear about where they stand, right? You'll never ever have to guess about where you stand with the King of Swords. He will tell you straight up. But the situation is what choice do you have to make around a King of Pentacles? Does this person make you happy? Does this person fill you with joy? Is there a lot of physical energy that you feel you can't necessarily express because you are left with no device to go in any direction? Sometimes the King of Pentacles may be that this is someone that represents a kind of person that you want, but you're not literally left with a lot of options too. Sometimes it can feel that way, but I feel like with the Two of Wands coming up is like, yes, you may feel like your back is against the wall, or you're crossed between two paths that really don't go anywhere, and they feel like they don't go anywhere. Well, you do have a choice. You do have a choice, and it doesn't. It may be outside of the realm of understanding or of knowledge. You may not know what to do. What you may do may be outside of your comfort zone. I feel like the King of Pentacles is representing someone comfortable though, someone safe, and of course with the Two of Wands, it's like, where do you go that's not a risk? Now, in the past, you had the Nine of Cups. I think this is something that you wanted. This relationship was something that you wanted, and it was fun, and it was something that made you happy. And I don't think I don't think it has lost that luster of happiness and excitement. But then then the Devil shows up in your present. So it would indicate that things were going great and going fine before, and then now it's kind of become, something that's not necessarily as healthy, or there is something that's indicating here that you don't feel like you have a lot of control. The King of Pentacles may have a lot of control, which is why the Two of Wands is crossed. Maybe this person doesn't feel like you have a lot of options, you have a lot of control, or maybe there's even a destination or something more outside of the King of Pentacles. Not saying that this person is holding you back, but the Devil energy would suggest that there's something here that makes you feel like you don't have a lot of control in it. Makes you feel like you don't have a lot of options. Let's see what this is suggesting. It could be that you guys are, the intimacy is an issue. Being intimate with your partner. The King of Pentacles, he's usually very tangible. Like, he's all about the feeling, the touch, right? So sex would be, one of those things that are right up his alley. But with the Devil energy there with Two of Wands, it would suggest that maybe you don't feel like you have any options or any choice as to what to do with this relationship or how to go, because maybe someone's very stubborn and has their own way of doing something. Or maybe you're noticing them for who they are. The Devil wouldn't necessarily suggest that you're seeing them for who they really are, but you definitely feel a situation not necessarily showing as what it should be. Or rather, the situation is playing out in a way that would suggest that you could have a different outcome or have a different experience, but it would be a little bit longer of it'd be a longer process to have the fulfilling or to have that manifested. So it's because the Devil would suggest that there is some sort of temporary solution, that there is some the underlying issue that's being treated with temporary solutions, but they ultimately lead you back to the Devil. They ultimately lead you back to those issues, right? They don't ever solve it. They just satiate it for the time being. So let's see why the Devil's coming out here, guys. And it could be that too, you may feel really attached to the person. So it may not be anything negative or anything wrong, but it could indicate that you are really drawn to the individual. This person you feel you can't live without. You have a really strong bond with the individual, which could definitely, speak the case. Or you guys both have similar issues with maybe some sort of area in your life that brought you two together. And it's about fighting through the feeling of not having options together that will ultimately help you guys come through and see the salvation in working together, perhaps. So, that said, let's take a look. You guys have the Fool. So it's interesting because the Fool and the Devil are very different. Because the Fool is all about starting fresh, starting new, nothing holding anyone back. It's just complete openness and willingness to experience. This is the experience card, I feel. Or going to go and experience something with a clean slate. The Devil's been through some shit already, right? We've already gone through enough craziness to even have some attachments here. So maybe you guys are both addicted to freedom, or you guys are yearning freedom, and you're finding freedom in things in ways that don't ultimately make you free or make you feel free. The decisions are temporary decisions that will ultimately make you free in the moment, but at the same time, like they have a not so encouraging effect to it at the very end. The side effects being that you crave more freedom rather than noticing that you're already free. So there could be something like that. Let's see why the Fool's coming out. What is the Fool suggesting? What brand new beginning is being clarified by the Fool? Oh, the Moon. Interesting. The Moon is interesting here because it's telling me that there wasn't really, overcoming insecurities then, overcoming uncertainty. And I feel like from this point on, you've been kind of taking on this approach of, I have no idea, let me experience. The only way I'll know is if I put my foot out there. And now with the Devil, it's almost like perhaps there's a comfortability to where you guys are now, but it doesn't make you happy. It still doesn't make you happy. But the King of Swords is someone that cuts things out of their lives that don't make them happy, that don't really make them really see the situation as logical anymore. They make really hard logical decisions. The King of Swords has been through enough terrible things to know what he needs to do in order for things to be fair, to be right, and to be equal. Or at least, most importantly, to be good on him, if that makes sense. So I feel like in the future, the reason why the King of Swords comes up is more like you're in your power at this point, and you communicate to people what you will and will not do, what you will and will not stand for, what you will and will not tolerate going forward, right? Not necessarily as I'm like someone's getting lectured or being talked to down, because I feel like the King of Swords is keeping everything 100 and 100% professional and clear. No concise, no feeling of, no emotion is being expressed here. Just boundaries, just reinforcement of boundaries are being expressed, and ultimately fairness, because where we're moving from is the Six of Pentacles. And I feel like you're heading down a different approach with how things are treated fairly going on in the future. Because right now, there may not be that fairness now. Things in your relationship may not be fair. And this doesn't have to do with just a relationship. This could have to do with your partner, with a business partner, someone that you were working with, something that's in the field of your career. And this is someone that you may feel like you don't really have a lot of options with, because you may be presented with someone that's not giving you a lot of options. Or rather, you're noticing that this person isn't as progressive as they could be, and therefore you're noticing the behaviors in which you could easily fall into, but you have worked so hard to not fall into those small traps anymore. So where you would probably be more swayed between someone that has a lot of money and a lot of authority, you're no longer seeing this individual as somebody that is higher than you or better than you. You probably are looking at the situation thinking, this is a very unhealthy relationship between me and my boss, or me and my coworkers. And I'm no longer going to go down the path in which my insecurities come from and continue on this pattern that ultimately does not make me happy, that doesn't make me feel free. So which explains your approach going forward in communicating your truth. The message is the message. But I feel like it's also remembering that even though you know yourself, perhaps there may be more to the situation that may need understanding. The Page of Swords is like, be careful with your words. Be careful with your choice of words. I feel like there's nothing wrong at all with setting your boundaries and communicating what you need to communicate in order for things to go in a very positive direction. Because that's the whole point. You want to go in a direction where you can develop and actually start making progress. Because you haven't been making progress. That's what it kind of feels like. You guys are upset because your lives, even though you've been doing the best that you could, or you were content with how you've been, it hasn't been progressing. And I think you've been noticing that, which is why you feel like you can't really make a lot of choices at this point. Like, you don't know where to go because there probably isn't anywhere to go. You just have to work on what you have. And I feel like that's the thing. You're not necessarily ignoring it, but I feel like there's other people maybe around you that don't see it. And bringing that to light is one of the things that's going to help you forward. But the way you communicate that is so important right now, Libra. The way you communicate that is important. And of course, I would say, like, if this situation is extremely frustrating, right? remember that this situation may be frustrating for the other party just because they don't understand, they're not seeing your side of the story, but they're going through something on their own that makes it frustrating for themselves. So everybody has done, it seems like they're on the same boat, right? The devil is no one, is a card that always reminds me that no one is to blame. No one is to blame for this. No one is the person that is causing the devil. We are entertaining the devil because we have situations and patterns that make situations easier to bypass, but not necessarily solve the issue. Again, that doesn't mean this is blame and there's no judgment, but this is a card that suggests that both parties are not benefiting from this kind of relationship. So I feel like, at the same time, there's a lot of misunderstandings between two people, or at least more, if at least a couple people, and it's just that it needs to be more. There needs to be more clarification, more calling out, and more information being communicated, understood, and gathered. Most importantly, gathering information is super important. And I kind of feel like, that's going to progress you forward, asking questions and communicating, and and recognizing and calling out inconsistencies. Like if you see something that's not making sense and it no longer lines up with what's going on, it's not necessarily your job to bring it back to alignment, but if it's affecting you and it's not making you happy, this is your realm of where you can jump into and start correcting things and course correcting things. If you don't feel very stable, perhaps there needs to be something, perhaps there's something that can be done in a way that will benefit the both parties. You can make, like the King of Swords, I feel like, yes, he's gone through enough stuff, but he also knows that the difficulty behind everything that he's been through requires compassion and understanding. If he doesn't have that compassion part, which usually he's very blunt, I think the biggest thing is that the reason why he's the king, the reason why he's so great at what he does, is because he can understand other people's points of views and knows exactly how to communicate with the people that he's surrounding himself with. Not in a sense of manipulating somebody, but more of like, he doesn't just communicate based off of based off of himself. It's not necessarily a one-sided communication. He does it because he understands that everybody goes through some sort of crap, and he doesn't judge. He doesn't judge. This is the card of Aquarius. He's not a judgmental individual. He communicates his facts. He discusses what he needs, and then from then on, that's it. That's the gist of it. He doesn't go any further. He doesn't even delve into the emotions because he knows it doesn't matter.